I didn't mean to find it. It happened at 2:17 a.m., the kind of hour where the house feels hollow and every small sound becomes a ghost. The bathroom light was still on, spilling a weak yellow glow into the hallway. Daniel's phone sat on the counter, buzzing against the cold marble like it was begging for attention. Normally I never checked his phone. We had always promised transparency, trust, no secrets. That was our rule. Our comfort. Our lie. I only picked it up to silence the buzzing, to keep it from waking him. But when the screen lit up in my hand, the notification exploded in front of me like a flare in the darkness. Good night, love, Red Heart. My heart didn't just drop. It twisted. The name on the screen was Mia. A stranger. A woman I had never heard of, never seen, never even imagined existed in our orbit. Before I could process it, another message pushed itself into view, cruel in its softness. I missed the way you kissed me today. The tiles under my feet felt like ice. My lungs locked, refusing to expand. My hand trembled as I tapped the notification, not because I wanted the truth, but because it was already demanding to be seen. It opened a hidden messaging app, something disguised under a harmless icon labeled Finance Tracker. A perfect mask for the ugliest secret. The conversation stretched long and intimate. Weeks of messages. Maybe months. Words that didn't belong to strangers or coworkers or harmless acquaintances. Words that belonged to lovers. You make me feel alive again. Next time wear that red dress. I can still feel you. Each sentence sliced deeper, carving into me with a detached precision. I thought discovering infidelity would feel like rage, like fire, like screaming. But it felt like cold sinking into bone. Like the world slowing down while my pulse raced, refusing to match the pace of my unraveling life. Behind the door, I heard the water running as Daniel rinsed his mouth. He hummed lightly off-key, the same tune he always hummed after brushing his teeth. That tiny familiar sound burned more than any sharp confession could have. My husband was humming while another woman told him she missed his kisses. I put the phone down exactly where it had been. I didn't cry. Crying would have been too human for the moment. Instead, I walked silently back to bed. When Daniel finally lay beside me minutes later, he wrapped an arm around my waist, warm and heavy, grounding in a way that suddenly felt suffocating. He pressed a gentle kiss against the back of my neck. I wondered if he kissed her like that too. I forced a breath out, quiet and controlled. "Good night," I whispered. My voice didn't even crack. But something inside me whispered back, something colder and sharper. "Not yet. This isn't over. This is where it begins." The next morning, Daniel left early for work. He kissed my cheek goodbye, and his lips felt foreign. As soon as the door clicked shut, the trembling I had held back all night finally surged through me. But I didn't break down. I connected dots. I logged into his email using the same password he'd used for years. He wasn't creative with passwords, just with lies. There it was, a password reset request for the Finance Tracker app. He had hidden it, but not well enough. When I accessed the app on my laptop, the full message history loaded. Their exchanges were emotional, detailed, dangerous in their intimacy. They weren't planning a weekend fling, they were planning a life. And then I found it, the line that changed everything. Mia had written, "Sometimes I feel guilty, like we're hurting her." He replied, "Don't think about her. She doesn't suspect anything." A laugh escaped my throat then, short, humorless, almost alien. He was wrong, and his ignorance was a gift. Another message deeper in the thread snagged my focus. "Do you promise you're leaving her? I don't want to be a secret forever." He didn't reassure her. He didn't tell her no. He didn't end it. He simply wrote, "Just give me time." Time. He asked for time. I decided to give him something else entirely. With a cold clarity I didn't recognize but welcomed, I clicked on the message thread and placed my fingers on the keyboard. Mia had sent her goodnight text only hours earlier. I typed back, pretending to be him. "We need to talk." Her response came instantly. "Is everything okay? Did something happen?" My heartbeat steadied, almost unnervingly calm. It felt like some part of me had stepped outside my body, watching from a distance, calculating. "I can't stop thinking about what you said." I wrote. "About her." Typing bubbles appeared again. "I'm sorry if I pushed too hard," she replied. "I just want a real chance with you." A real chance. with my husband, with my life, with my future. I wrote, "Meet me tomorrow. Usual place. Noon." Her excitement was palpable even through text. "Really? You mean it?" I stared at the message for a long moment before sending a simple, "Yes." When Daniel came home that evening, he carried flowers, white lilies. My favorite once, not anymore. They looked like apology petals, guilt petals. He tried to kiss me again. I turned just enough for it not to seem like rejection but enough to feel like distance. "What's wrong?" he asked, concern creasing his forehead. "Everything." But I smiled gently. "Just tired." He believed me. That was his first mistake. That night, he slept with his arm thrown across my waist again like nothing had changed. Like I didn't know. Like I wasn't planning. The next day, I arrived early to the cafe where he usually met her. I watched from across the street as Mia entered. She looked nothing like I'd imagined. She wasn't a glamorous seductress. She wasn't manipulative or sharp-featured or predatory. She was soft, nervous, fidgety. She kept glancing at the door as though willing him to walk through it. When I approached her table, she recognized me even before I spoke. Some instinct in her face shifted. Her breath caught. Her shoulders tensed. She whispered, "You're her." I sat across from her, my voice steady. "And you must be Mia." She swallowed hard. "Where is he?" "He's not coming." My tone was controlled, neither cruel nor emotional. Just cold enough to steady myself. Fear flickered in her eyes. "What do you want?" "Information," I said calmly. "And maybe something more." "You're not angry at me?" she asked, almost whispering. "Oh, I'm furious," I said softly. "But not for the reasons you think." She frowned, confused, vulnerable, exposed. "We're going to help each other," I added. "And Daniel. He's going to learn exactly what betrayal feels like." Her breath trembled. "You want revenge?" I leaned forward slightly, my voice almost gentle. "I want justice. And you, Mia, are going to help me deliver it." Her lips parted, stunned, unsure whether she was the villain or the victim in this story. And that was how it started. Mia didn't speak for a long moment. Her fingers toyed nervously with the edge of her coffee cup, tracing small circles that left faint smudges on the porcelain. Her guilt was obvious, but so was her fear. I could see the questions spinning behind her eyes. Was I angry? Would I lash out? Was this a trap? When she finally exhaled, it came out shaky. "I didn't mean for any of this to happen," she whispered. He told me your marriage was basically over." I didn't respond. Lies always sound the same. Soft, convenient, easy to believe when you want to feel less monstrous about your choices. She looked young, mid-20s maybe, with hope still stitched into her features. Hope Daniel had exploited so effortlessly. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. "I'm not here to argue with you," I said calmly. "I'm not here to fight or scream or blame you for everything. Daniel made his choices. You made yours. Now you get to make a new one." Mia's brows pulled together. "What do you want me to do?" "Nothing you haven't already been doing," I replied. "Talking to him. Meeting him. Letting him think you're still in love with him." Her breath hitched. I leaned back slightly, observing her reaction. "I know what you're thinking. You think I want to trap him. Catch him red-handed. Confront him. But that's too small. Too easy." She swallowed. "Then what?" "I want him to fall apart," I said softly. "From the inside. The same way he did to me." There was a long, heavy pause between us. She looked down at her hands, then back at me with something shifting in her expression. Not guilt this time, understanding. "You want him to hurt," she murmured. "No," I corrected. "I want him to lose everything he thinks he controls." For a moment, neither of us spoke. The clatter of dishes, the soft hum of the espresso machine, distant footsteps. Everything in that cafe faded behind a fog of tension. Finally, in a voice barely louder than a breath, Mia asked, "What do you need me to do?" The plan unfolded slowly, carefully, over the next hour. And to my surprise, she didn't argue. She didn't resist. Whether it was remorse or self-preservation or some twisted need for closure of her own, she agreed. When we finally parted ways, I felt a strange sense of clarity I hadn't felt in years. Something inside me, Something Daniel had slowly suffocated with lies was awakening. That evening Daniel came home cheerful, humming again. Like Betrayal was a melody he had grown comfortable with. I watched him move around the kitchen, opening cabinets, setting plates, laughing at something on his phone. In the past, I would have found these things endearing. Now I studied them like an investigator trying to understand a criminal's habits. His ease disgusted me. "Everything okay?" he asked as he poured me a glass of water, sliding it across the counter. I nodded. "Just tired." "You've been tired a lot lately." His voice was light but curious. Testing. Searching for cracks. If only he knew how many I'd already sealed shut. Mia messaged him around 9:30 that night. I heard the notification vibrate on his phone. He slipped away to the bathroom like a teenager hiding secrets under his pillow. I waited until I heard the lock click, then quietly followed. Through the door, his voice was low, eager, the same tone he used with me years ago. A piece of me wilted hearing it again. Not because I missed it, but because I realized how easily he gave it away. He came out minutes later, a small satisfied smile tugging at his mouth. "I'm gonna sleep early," he said casually, leaning in to kiss my cheek. I let him, because tomorrow everything would begin. The following day, Mia texted him exactly as planned. "We need to talk in person again. Same place. Noon." He left work claiming a meeting. Not knowing I watched his location from the tracking app, he insisted we keep for safety. I followed 10 minutes behind him, parking far enough to stay invisible. From the car, I watched as Mia sat with him. She was good, better than I expected. She played all the roles he had written for her. Insecure lover, hopeful partner, patient secret. She asked him the questions we rehearsed. "When are you going to tell her? You said you needed time." Daniel reached across the table, took her hand, and said the words I already knew he'd say. "Soon. You know I love you." Hearing it aloud was a new kind of pain, sharp but awakening. It pushed something deeper inside me. Something resolute. The next step began a week later. Mia gradually became distant with him. Less available. More doubtful. She told him she was scared he wasn't serious. She hinted she might tell me herself. The panic in his messages was almost poetic. Then he began messing up. Coming home late, lying clumsily, picking fights over nothing. Every night he unraveled a little more. Every night I watched, listened, studied. One evening he paced the living room, running a hand through his hair. "She's being weird," he muttered. "I think something's wrong. Do you want to talk about it?" I asked, masking the amusement in my voice. He hesitated. "It's nothing. Work stuff." Of course it was. He left for another meeting, but I knew exactly where he went, to beg Mia not to leave him. She kept her distance that night, exactly as planned. The next day I played my part. I made him breakfast. I kissed his cheek. I laughed at something he said. The normalcy unnerved him. He watched me too long, too closely, like he sensed something shifting but couldn't name it. Then came the night he finally cracked. He walked into the bedroom, shoulders tense, eyes frantic. "I think we need to talk," he said. My stomach didn't flutter. My pulse didn't stutter. I had been waiting for this moment. "What about?" I asked softly. His mouth opened, but the words didn't come. His lower lip trembled. He was collapsing from the inside, the guilt, the pressure, the double life ripping at his seams. He sat on the bed, elbows on his knees, hands gripping his hair. "I messed up," he whispered. "How badly?" I asked. He looked up at me then, eyes glossy, expression broken. I think I'm losing her. Not I'm losing you. Not I'm sorry. Not I betrayed you. Her." A silence stretched between us, rich and suffocating. Something inside me hardened completely. I stood slowly, walked to my dresser, and pulled out the printed screenshots I had been collecting for weeks. Every message, every kiss emoji, every promise, every lie. I dropped them onto the bed beside him. He froze. The color drained from his face. His hand shook as he lifted the first page. Eyes scanning the words he thought I would never see. "Since the night you hummed in the bathroom," I said quietly. "I knew." His breath broke. "Please. I can explain." "No," I said calmly. "You really can't." He stared at me like a man watching his world crumble. And then I delivered the final blow. "Mia isn't leaving you," I said. She already did. His brows furrowed, confusion replacing panic. I left you, I whispered. The night I found those messages. He blinked, lost, unable to process. I just needed you to feel it, I added. The slow destruction. The doubt. The emptiness. The fear of losing something you thought you owned. His body slumped, a soft sound escaping him. A wounded man's cry. But I wasn't done. I handed him the divorce papers from my bag, already signed. You said you needed time, I said softly. I gave you mine instead. When I walked out of the house that night, the air felt different. Lighter. Sharper. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. I knew exactly what I was leaving behind. A man destroyed from within. Exactly as he deserved.